Albuquerque's top prosecutor point blank believes here in New Mexico, criminals have more rights than victims. And when those victims are children, the people accused of hurting them are getting away with their crimes too frequently. District Attorney Raul Torrez sat down with Florida investigator Cruz Ramirez to explain a change he would like to see in New Mexico law that could help put child predators behind bars. Chris.
Yeah, and Steve, it's a hard fact to swallow, but cases involving child victims fall apart very often in New Mexico. And part of the reason is because children are forced to relive their trauma over and over again to the point that they can no longer mentally withstand the criminal justice system. DA Torrez wants to change that in one simple way.
At the time she was 12, she was walking to the bus stop and there was a man waiting around the corner for her and attacked her. Sexually assaulted her, hit her over the head. She fought and got away.
Michelle Goudelet's daughter ran away and called for help. Police investigated and found the man they believed was responsible for the attack. Michelle's daughter explained what happened in a videotaped safe house interview with licensed child therapist. But for Michelle's daughter, she felt re-traumatized by defense attorneys.
She felt harassed. She felt like they were calling her a liar. She didn't want to talk anymore, you know, because they were always in her face or always changing the story on her and calling her, saying that she's lying because stuff at school was happening or just stuff like that.
District Attorney Raul Torrez believes child victims shouldn't have to be interviewed time after time about their trauma. He wants to change New Mexico law so that videotaped safe house interviews can be shown to a jury in place of a young victim having to testify.
In almost every other state that surrounds us and the federal courts, those interviews are allowed to be, they're allowed to be presented to the jury. And in New Mexico, they're often not.
In the case of Michelle's daughter, her daughter was forced to testify before a jury, but the jury wasn't convinced.
We were going to do a second trial, but she couldn't do it. She was just falling apart, and I seen her falling apart right before my eyes.
DA Torrez says these breakdowns in cases against alleged child predators happen too often in New Mexico.
Think about the harm that's inflicted. You shouldn't look at a 7-year-old or a rape victim and say, in order to find justice in this system, you have to endure not only the trauma of the crime that was committed against you, but multiple interviews with you just to get yourself to court, and then you have to testify all over again.
DA Torrez knows changing the law comes with a fight, particularly by defense attorneys.
Some of the problem with that is that it presumes that the statement that was initially made was very thorough, very accurate, and that you really get the whole picture, right? That's kind of what that presumes.
Defense attorney Heather LeBlanc argues safe house interviews aren't truth-seeking interviews. She believes it's the role of attorneys to flush out all the facts to find the real truth, and interviewing children is just part of that process.
When we talk about criminal justice, there is no justice without truth. We can't have justice without truth. And we can't start sacrificing those steps, those important steps in the process.
DA Raul Torrez will go over this idea tomorrow morning at a conference with other out-of-state prosecutors, and then he plans on working with state lawmakers to file this bill to be debated during the next legislative session in January. Steve, back to you.